Good morning. Welcoming into this space of presence. Just taking a moment to breathe in, breathing in and finding yourself. As you are no doubt feeling more and more your own way, we have little to do with enabling you or assisting you to connect to your own self. It is mostly that we are simply providing the platform or the setting, in the sense that we are calling you here to do this for yourself. Much as you could go to a meditation circle, you could also meditate on your own, and yet sometimes it is easier to have it already set up for you, a time and a place. Which helps to create the intention, the designation, carving out space and time for yourself. These transmissions, these activations, these gatherings are not magical in the sense that we are doing something that you are unable to do yourself. And yet it is magical in the sense that you allow the space and time for this to unfold, for this to occur. And so again, it is the all and the nothingness within you that surrounds you. That is called to you, by you, and through you. This is the magic, that this energy is always available to you. And the more that you intentionally practice, the more it becomes a normal and regular part of your existence. Calling forth the awareness of your light, of your connection. For you have a multitude of consciousnesses and many realms. We like to hear that because we are present within our mind, we are conscious. This is where our awareness lies, and yet this is just a portion of the truth. So when you start to remember, there are other consciousnesses in other places, in other realms. Notice how this activates your heart. Notice how suddenly we are not alone. Sometimes it is hard to imagine we have support, that we have beings that are here, because then we try to imagine what they are like, what they are doing, who are they, what are they, how do they relate to us. And so connecting into our other consciousnesses, this mega consciousness, if you will. You feel this connecting in through the mind, through the mental space, in the head. So if all these little acupuncture points throughout the brain start lighting up, start making connections, into these realms of possibilities. And so now that you are more fully aware, more fully activated, let us turn now to the space you find yourself in within this physical body. There are what we would feel to call these density projections in and around you. The way that we see this as these vertical elements, these vertical drops, lines of energy, and yet very, very heavy. And it is as if you could imagine the full reality, the full universe as this beautiful white sphere, even having an opaque quality to it, so it's not solid, but yet there's an atmosphere within it of clarity, crispness of tone, crystal tone qualities. And yet within this space, it's as if there is what we see as a stage set up. And much as this mechanism by which these lights would hang, the backdrops, the movement of the play, how it all unfolds, It is similar to this. It is as if there is another setting here within this whole sphere of truth. And it's as if these realities are dangling, almost like temptations. As if you could imagine a string hanging in front of a cat. You would start to shake it and move it to catch its attention, to entice it to grab for the string. And this is the energy that is all around you. All of these vibrating temptations, which are not the whole truth, which are not the full reality of what and who you are, of what and who you are made of. And so we are in a powerful moment of clarity where we are seeing these drops of energy, these strings dangling in front of us for what they are. And even though the truth is easier to see, there is a sense, an air of feeling crestfallen, of feeling taken, of feeling tricked, of feeling, how did we not see this for what it is? Even though we have had this sense all along that something was off, something was not right, there must be more than this to life. And so the mind, and trying to understand all of these different perspectives that have always been present yet not clear. The body is trying to sort through these emotions. There is a range of emotions. There is elation. Of course, this is the truth that we would want to know, that there is more. What we have been living is not the ultimate truth. And yet there is the sadness because we have been playing within the distortion, within the untruth. And all the places where we have fully bought into these untruths, now we must unravel our being from these places. So it is a powerful time, but can also be a painful time. But we can also see it for what it is. Because we knew this before we came here. Because we knew we would be blinded in some ways when we descended down here into these densities. And yet we also knew that we held the capacity to part these curtains of deception. To turn on the house lights, to see out into the reality. And because you are so powerful, and because ultimately you control the dialogue within your mind, you control the script of how you choose to experience this, you can rewrite how you experience this revealing. Much as after a play, the final show, as the actors all gather and celebrate such a wonderful performance. Imagine yourself at the celebration, how wonderfully you played your parts to arrive here into this moment. And yet seeing before you a whole other adventure yet to come now. The celebration of the play ending is just the beginning of a much richer, much more fascinating, much more magical story. Because it is much more real. And it is you who are creating it, you who are driving it, you who are directing it. Allowing all of this to come into your heart. Allowing all this to build. Know that there are many ways you can move through this transition into your new life. Know that the negative emotions of shame, guilt, blame, those are available. You can pick those up and use those. But that's not necessary, nor is it even recommended. Because those are old world tactics. Those are antiquities of the past. Those are karmic membranes of retribution. We are not here to play within any of that. And so this is the element of pain that many of us are feeling at this time. Because we are also understanding how we have the ability not to choose that. Whereas in the past, they may have felt like the only option. Now we are seeing and understanding this is not so. For many of us, this is the most painful transit we will ever make, to accept that negativity is not a requirement, that dwelling within this pain is optional. And even to say, to allow yourself to forgive yourself. Neither is that recommended nor an ideal path. Because this discounts the fact that in some other time, in some other realm, you knew what would occur here. And so connecting through these higher consciousnesses, lift yourself up to these realms where you know and understand all. This is where your awareness belongs. This is where your consciousness comes from, originates from, and dwells within. Releasing these lines and these plugins from the bases, from the mental constructs that we have taken on. Release. And yes, there may be times we need to honor our experiences. Sometimes this truth can be blinding as well. It shatters our realities that we have played into. And so this is not to say to ignore the emotions, to ignore what has been experienced, but yet to know these pockets of shifting and transference. It is not to dwell here. See it as a step up, a step through, a step beyond. But continue to see it for what it is, which is not the ultimate truth of who you are, and where you have come from, and what you are here to be. As always, we have enjoyed this time within this space of presence. Wish you many blessings and peace upon you. Namaste.